Welcome to our Coach's Corner feature. Coach Dave Wood joins us as he has throughout the month of February. Following Purdue games, the coach has had a chance to watch the Boilermakers. I guess they got rid of Ohio State in a good manner yesterday. Purdue did a good job of pulling out the lead in the second half and extending it en route to a relatively easy victory. And Coach, I'll just ask first and foremost your impressions. Again, as a coach, as a grinder, you go on the road, you've lost 3 of 4, and then you come home where everybody's cheering you on. Great crowd yesterday, national television audience. Makes a big difference in the psyche of young players or of players at any level.
No question. Hey, there's no place like home. I think one of the things that we've talked about is how difficult it is on the road. And if you're struggling, I don't think there's anything better than a home game, frankly. And I felt like Purdue played with a lot more confidence after the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Which was first 2 minutes or so, which was actually very poor. But after that, there was a lot of they looked a lot more confident in the game, and maybe that happens when you're playing an Ohio State team that has really, really struggled lately. But I don't know. I really don't think there's much more than getting confidence back. Yeah. And a good way to get confidence back is to have 15,000 people cheering you on and not cheering against you and not saying nasty things to you every time something happens. But Mackey Arena was really good to Purdue yesterday for certain.
A lot of topics to discuss. One, two, change in the lineup, partly because Caleb Furst has been a little bit under the weather. But Mason Gillis comes in, provides a spark as he does. Would he have 10 rebounds in 18 minutes? It's a pretty good clip. And First had 6 rebounds. But just talk about it from a coaching standpoint when you make a change in the lineup. And we don't know all the details. It may have as much to do with the fact of First relative illness issue, though he seems to be better at this point. But talk about what that is when you have 2 guys like First and Gillis, both very established players, both play their roles well. But you make a change in that lineup. Anything more to make of that, or is that just an exchange here, just as a matter of necessity due to Caleb's situation?
I think that coaches like to send a message. Sometimes, along with playing at home, making some subtle little change helps. If you're a baseball coach and your team's on a losing streak, you change the lineup some. You switch people around, even though this guy's going to be your number 3 hitter most of the season. You make him 2 just to give it a little different flavor, a little different look. I thought that helped. If for no other reason than, okay, we're going to approach this just a little bit differently. It wasn't wholesale changes. He's not going to put Caleb Furst at the end of the bench forever. Just the same as when he made the change from Gillis to Gillis to Furst. He wasn't putting. Mason has obviously had some great games coming off the bench, but just a little subtle change can change a team's psyche. Along with playing at home. But I just thought they played with a lot more confidence after those first 2 minutes of the game yesterday.
Braden Smith, you talked about that, and there was an audible gasp in Mackey Arena in his second foul early in the game, relatively early in the game in the first half. David Jenkins came in, did a great job, not only at the point, but just kind of steadying thing and having a very, very important game. Talk about that again, a guy that Purdue relies on so much in Braden Smith. Maybe if he's probably the second most important player on this basketball team. He may not be the first, but talk about that and that subtle change. And again, having guys, Newman played well. Also, Brandon Newman came off the bench and did some very good things, as he's done more of late. Talk about that and that dynamic and the importance of that.
Okay, even the most subtle, even the most casual fan, I should say, recognizes foul trouble. Yeah. My old players would tell you what I've told them, and that is that, excuse me, that 5 fouls and you're out, I think, is the most significant rule in basketball.
Yeah.
Nothing changes a player's performance. Nothing changes a game plan quicker than foul trouble. You got great team players that and everybody who's played knows the feeling when you're playing in a game with 8 minutes to go and you've got 4 fouls, all of a sudden you're not so much a team player. You're into survival mode, trying to stay in the game, and you get 2 fouls quickly, and that changes everything. And you said there was an audible gasp in Mackey Arena. There was an audible gasp in the room I was in with about 5 other people. Oh no, that's Braden's second foul. What's going to happen now? We're getting ready to talk about IU, and I'll just throw in this briefly. If you review the first IU game, you're going to find that I think the most significant play of the game was Zach Edie's first foul. Yeah. The game changed right then. But back to this game, everybody thought, okay, what's going to happen? And fortunately, David Jenkins came in and did a great job playing point. And many of his minutes have come as the 2 guard lately. But he was forced to come in, and I'm sure Matt would have gone back to Braden had things not gone well. But Jenkins did certainly a credible job while Braden was on the bench, and Coach Painter didn't have to go back to Braden in that scenario, which allowed Braden the freedom to just play in the second half. That was huge. That was very, very, very big in this game, because the way Ohio State was pressing, you're going, the one guy who attacks the press for Purdue is Braden Smith. And when he went out, my first thought was, are we gonna mess around with this press and not attack it? And I thought Purdue did a much better job, had more players attacking the press, and David Jenkins did a great job there.
Yeah, no question. And that's, again, David Jenkins has experience. I like the guy I like about him also is just his physical presence. I mean, there's been a lot made of the Lawyer and Smith and the fact that they're freshmen and they have 18-year-old bodies, so they're not, they're going to grow. Certainly Lawyer is going to be in that mode, but certainly Jenkins brings that physical presence. And that's what Ohio State was, even in the first 2 possessions or 3 possessions, just bowling up on Purdue, which has been the MO.
No question.
Teams. And I think that was a big factor as well. Did you see it the same way in terms of that physical presence? I think Jenkins can really, stating the obvious here, I understand that Jenkins has been a part of this team all year, but he could really come in handy maybe against some other teams that have really got physical backcourts.
Unquestionably. And part of Ohio State's strategy was to keep the ball out of Braden Smith's hands. They were denying him the ball. Even after pressing, if he didn't have the ball, they were denying him the ball. And there were a couple possessions where he had trouble getting away from that physical defense. Jenkins didn't have as much trouble, frankly, because of his strength getting away from that particular strategy to get Purdue into offense. 3 seconds makes a big difference. If he's able to get him into offense 3 seconds sooner. Those young guys, you're right. They're, I think that people are going to be excited when they see their bodies 365 days from now. That's going to change, and it's especially going to change with Fletcher Lawyer. He's an outstanding player, but in a year or so, he's going to have the physical strength to withstand a lot of that.
Yeah, no question on the standpoint. Or you talk about the play and foul trouble, but also the play that Zach Edie kind of returned. He only played 25 minutes at 26 points yesterday. Purdue just seemed to be in the flow with him getting the ball. He still missed some shots inside. I think he was 11 for 20 from the field. But the fact that he gets 20 shots, again, another example of Purdue kind of looking more like the Purdue we've seen for the very vast majority of this season.
Very definitely. Ohio State chose for the biggest part of this game to go single coverage on him, and I think that I think you're asking for big trouble if you don't double him. And for a large part of the game, he gets 20 shots because they didn't double him very much.
Yeah.
And as you say, he missed some relatively easy shots. If he makes all his relatively easy shots, then he's around 30 points in 25 minutes. And I, as a coach, if I'm playing against Purdue, I'm not going to let him go one-on-one. And I don't think he's proven too many times that one guy just is not going to stop him. And I don't care how big the guy is, and I don't care how strong the guy is, and I don't care how good the guy is. One guy is not going to stop him, and they chose to use that strategy, I think, to their big detriment. As soon as I saw that, I thought, they're in trouble because Edie's going to have a big game.
All right, you got a week off. You have 6 days between games. You know, in terms of all your years of coaching, the grind of the season. We've talked about that. Purdue now really actually only has 2 games the next 12 or 13 days. Has to be a good thing. Of course, Indiana's a special week. You know that when Indiana comes into Mackey Arena, or Purdue plays Indiana anywhere. But talk about the dynamic of that, of where Purdue is in a, not only a preparation standpoint, but kind of a mental, physical mode as they move into March. It seems to me that this break may come at a really good time for the Boilermakers.
No question. I think it's a really good thing that it comes at this time of the season after a big win.
Yeah.
Purdue was struggling, and the mood around the team, I suspect, was a little more somber. This is going to get them in a much better frame of mind after a big win, but also rest is key. Rest is big at this time of the year. Being able to have a couple of lighter practices where you're doing fundamental things, but you're not taxing your legs physically. People really don't understand the grind of a season like this with travel and you're tired. You don't look tired when you're playing as much as you are. You don't look tired walking down the street, but getting a couple of good nights rest without something big happening the next day. Getting a day off. I don't know I think I said it here, maybe I didn't, but I think the best thing the NCAA maybe has ever done is required 1 day off. And I suspect Purdue's going to take 1, maybe 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days off today, Monday and Wednesday they'll be off. So that's what we talked about.
Players don't forget how to play.
Yeah.
On a day off, but what they do get hopefully is rejuvenated and re-energized. You can imagine, even in high school, if I were to say as a coach, we're taking the day off, the look in my players' eyes was really, this is fantastic, this is great.
Yeah.
Come back ready to go on the next day. But players get excited about a day off this time of year, especially.
All right, Indiana's always a special week in any situation. It could be if Northwestern loses, and the Wildcats have a couple. I think they go to Maryland or they go to Illinois this week before they play also on Saturday. I think when they go to Maryland. My point is, it could be a chance to get a share of the Big Ten championship if you can beat Indiana. But it's still, you lost Indiana the first time. You're going to have a prime time Saturday night game. It is going to be, I guess the word would be choice in Mackey Arena. But talk about just that special part of that game. You've been through it on the Purdue bench in two of the classic games, the 87 and 88 games against Indiana. We're all-timers. This is going to be that same type of environment, maybe even ramped up a little bit more because it's a Saturday night game. But talk about that and then just what that is for these guys, because when you lose to your rival the first time around in a game you really thought you probably could have won, maybe even changes it a little bit more.
Well, Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Louisville, I suppose. I don't know, UCLA, USC, but I don't think there are very many rivalries in the country that rival Purdue, Indiana on the basketball floor. Assembly Hall is louder with Purdue in the building, and Mackey Arena, as loud as it is louder when Indiana's in the building. People are going to be excited. and it lately in this rivalry, it's been a lot one-sided. And the reason it's been a lot one-sided is that Indiana really hasn't had a great team over the last few years. Well, now what you've got is two very, very good basketball teams. Indiana's good. Let's make no mistake about it. They are a very, very good basketball team with probably the two guys nationwide who are going to be 1-2 in the voting for National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Trace Jackson Davis is a star. Trace Jackson Davis is a problem for his opponents. So they've got a stud. Purdue's got a stud. The atmosphere is going to be great. Indiana was I thought the first team that really bullied Purdue, and had it work to their advantage. The strategy is going to be the same. If Purdue's not able to deal with that physical nature of the game, it's going to be a huge challenge for them. But it's going to be a huge challenge anyway, because Indiana's really, really good. Purdue's really, really good. This is going to be exciting. When both teams are good, this rivalry is fantastic. It's amazing. And I think that everybody's going to be thrilled and excited for this game. It's going to be a good one. I'll be completely shocked if this is not come down to the last couple of minutes of the game for sure.
Yeah, going to be a lot on the line, and Indiana may try to work its way into the Big Ten race, but it would be a huge win for Indiana on seeding. Obviously, Purdue came up as the number 1 seed, at least in the first reveal, the third overall. Every win is going to be important for Purdue coming down the stretch, whether it's for the conference race or not. So that
absolutely, and certainly, you said it. I think Purdue gets a stranglehold on the regular season Big Ten championship with a win against Indiana.
Yeah, no question. All right. Well, thanks so much, as always, for your insight, and we appreciate it very much. And we'll look forward to more of the same, but it is going to be from February the 20th on. There's a lot of intrigue left in this basketball season from a Purdue standpoint. So, Coach, thanks so much, and we'll have a great rest of your day. And all of you out there in the land of watching this on YouTube, we appreciate you as well. Thanks for taking the time to check in. So have a great one, all.